Welcome to Community Health Briefs, where AI hosts share short, clear stories about research shaping healthier futures. Each episode highlights new work from members of the College for Community Health at Montclair State University, showing how ideas connect to the social and structural forces behind health. In short, this is research you can trust, explained by AI in minutes.
Today, we're getting into a topic that is, it's difficult, but it's absolutely essential.
It really is.
We're looking at the life course trauma that women involved in street-based sex work experience and how that trauma impacts their ability to get health care. You know, the kind of care you or I might take for granted.
And this whole deep dive is built on some incredibly powerful research from a team led by Drs. Robert J. Reid and Reid Garcia-Reid.
Right, at Montclair State University.
Exactly. They run Project COPE, which stands for Communities Organizing for Prevention and Empowerment. And their whole mission is to move past judgment, to actually understand the complex lives of these women who are navigating these huge systemic barriers.
And our goal here is to help inform better non-judgmental practices in community health. So with a topic that big, where did the researchers even start?
Well, they started with a really foundational question. Basically, what are the lived experiences and experiences of trauma for female sex workers when they tried to navigate community health services?
What is it actually like for them?
That's it. The approach was to do these in-depth one-on-one interviews with 22 adult women in a high-poverty urban community.
And it's important to note who they spoke to.
Almost all of them, 95.5%, were African-American or Black, and they were found through an HIV testing and mental health clinic.
So they were already actively trying to get help.
They were already in the system seeking support, yes.
And what came out of those conversations wasn't like a single problem, was it?
Not at all. It was this continuous cumulative cycle of trauma across their entire lives. The research sort of organizes these experiences into three big themes. The first one starts right at the beginning, formative trauma.
So childhood.
And this part of the study it's just shaking to read. 15 of the 22 women reported devastating childhood trauma.
We're talking about severe physical abuse.
Severe. For example, a woman named Joyce described being beaten with extension cords by her mother. But the part that really stands out is she saw it as normal. She said, "I did not look at it as she abused me. No, this is something her parents did to her."
It was just what happened. And that wasn't all, was it?
No. 7 of the women reported childhood sexual abuse, often by family members. One woman, Linda, even said her own mother sanctioned the abuse.
That violation of trust it's just profound.
It is. And the research draws a really strong line from that early trauma directly into the second theme, environmental trauma.
So it's not just what happened inside the home.
Right. It's what was happening outside.
Yeah.
These traumas were made so much worse by the environment. All 22 participants held marginalized identities. They grew up surrounded by resource deprivation and historical oppression.
This is where we see the structural issues.
Absolutely. One woman, Willa, spoke about her family history as descendants of enslaved people. Another, Bernice, was exposed to drugs and alcohol at just 13 because it was just everywhere.
This is what people mean when they talk about the structural determinants of health.
Exactly. The systems that are supposed to provide safety, housing, opportunity.
When they fail.
When they fail, you fall right into the third theme. Trauma related to sex work as an adult. The vulnerability is just extreme.
And the risks were horrifying.
They were. Women talked about lasting illnesses like cancer from HPV or hepatitis C. 8 of the women were living with HIV, and it was often linked to sexual violence.
Like the story of Velma.
Yes, who contracted HIV after being raped and beaten. And the working conditions themselves. I mean, just beyond unsafe.
14 of the 22 women, that's more than half.
More than half witnessed their peers being killed, chopped up, thrown in dumpsters. You hear that from Harriet in the study, and you realize the level of fear they live with.
It's no wonder that another woman, Cleo, said she used substances to numb the feeling. How could you not?
So when you look at the whole picture, the early abuse, the environment, the violence in adulthood, what you see is deep, deep system involvement.
Right. Half the women talked about being arrested or losing their kids' child welfare.
And the research is so clear on this point. These women are not failures. They were failed. Profoundly failed by the justice system, by mental health systems, by our political systems.
So the key takeaway here for you listening is what exactly?
The crucial takeaway is that these resilient women need safe, supportive, and culturally responsive treatment, not to be criminalized.
About to be rescued.
Exactly. The moment we intensify policing, we just deepen their vulnerability. They need support, not punishment.
So the solution isn't as simple as better clinic hours or something like that. If poverty, abuse, and marginalization are really the fuel for all this, we want to leave you with a final thought to reflect on.
What large-scale policy change? We're talking about housing, education, economic opportunity. What has to happen before healthcare can even begin to create real safety and healing for this population?
A heavy, but I think a very necessary exploration today. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Thanks for listening to Community Health Briefs. This podcast was created with the help of AI, verified by the paper's author, and does not necessarily reflect the views of the College for Community Health or Montclair State University. Thanks again for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at www.montclair.edu/CCHL to learn more about us and the amazing work we're doing for community health.